Rob, Lamar Jackson, speaking of not playing, here's the situation. It looks like, the Ravens are going to franchise tag him unless they come to an agreement, which looks like it's not going to happen anytime soon. And even if they are going to trade him, Rob, they need to franchise him. And so their new offensive coordinator, which reportedly, Lamar had at least some say in hiring, or at least signed off on, Todd Monken from Georgia, University of Georgia. He was asked, what if Lamar refuses to sign the franchise tag until a week before the start of the season? Now, and so let me give the context. They can franchise him, the Ravens. We know over the next
But he doesn't have to sign it. He can
wait.
Right.
He doesn't have to sign it, and he won't lose any money until the week before, like a week before the regular season starts. At that point, if he hasn't signed it, Rob, and starts missing practices, missing games, then he will be fined. And so theoretically, Lamar, if he's upset with the tag, could be like, I'm not signing it. Thus, I'm not going to OTAs. I'm not going to be working with the new receivers in the summer. I'm not going to be at training camp. I'm not going to learn the new offense, all that. And then a week before the season starts, sign and I guess be in position to play or whatever. But here's Todd Monken answering that question.
I'm sure he'll be behind, but it's still just football. I mean, I think sometimes we make this out to be way too much. We'll cater to what he knows and play. But, I mean, it's like any player. The more time you spend with them, the more comfortable they get with any system. Or relationship. That's part of it. And there's a big part of that relationship from a quarterback, coordinator, play caller, position coach, where they're comfortable and there's a trust that is a big part of that, and that's built over time.
Kind of a crazy answer, Rob.
No, I like his answer. I thought it was the only thing I did like is I think he is right. People make it like it's brain surgery. Like
it's complicated though.
Yeah, but I don't think systems. But I don't think that if you put him out there, he won't know how to throw the open, run plays or go back to stuff that they've used. Like, he's going to be totally
put
lost.
In a new system.
In a new system, you dummy it down until he can catch up.
From Roman.
But you would dummy it down until he can catch up on it. I just don't think that it automatically they're going to lose or he won't know what to do or he's going to not be able to play. So I think I got that part. I'm not saying that he would be a well-oiled machine and everything would go great, but you work through it like you would work through anything. Sometimes you'd have to work through it. So I just think Lamar should stick to his guns. If this is important to you and making sure you get a fully guaranteed contract, then make them acquiesce, or you move on to another team that's willing to do it. That's what it seems like he's going to do now. He didn't do it at the beginning of the season, Chris. We talked about it last year that we thought this, before football started, that was the time he could have done it then and made a statement. He didn't do it. He played the season. But I think it's worth fighting for if that's what you really believe you should get and you deserve.
Look, I agree that these guys have been playing football for 20-some-odd years, and you can pick some things up, and you can dumb down a system. But we saw none other than Tom Brady go to Tampa Bay, Rob, and struggle for the first half of his first season there because it was a different system. And then they put in stuff that he was more familiar with, stuff he wanted to put in from New England. And obviously the rest is history. They went on to win the Super Bowl. So the system, especially when it's going to be very different from what Greg Roman, the previous offensive coordinator, had, is important, and getting used to it. We saw Aaron Rodgers not go through any offseason workouts with his new receivers, and they really didn't catch up with each other until later in the season. And I also think, Rob, if Lamar Jackson, if this were his plan, he can't go out there and not play well. I mean, like, if he's going to, like, for him to wait until a week before the season, sign the deal, and then go out there and play and not be as familiar with the offense, maybe you got new receivers, that is not putting himself in the best position to succeed. So
I
I
agree,
think,
but I
Rob,
don't think that's going to stop somebody from wanting him or signing him. He's got enough body of work.
he's been hurt the last 2 years.
Well, but that's an
and
injury thing. But that ain't about
that's
his
fine,
play.
but that's a big concern with
No,
Lamar.
but I'm talking about. But you're talking about him not being there or not being caught up with the system or working out with the new players and the new coordinator. I'm saying that they're not going to hold that against him. Now, if you want to say you want to hold against his injuries or he doesn't play well,
if he goes out there and doesn't play well, they're not going to hold that against him?
No, I don't think. I think if
Yeah,
you want
I
him,
do. I mean, it only takes one, so maybe one team will do it. But I'm saying it would not help him if he goes out there and looks bad. No, people already don't hold him in the same regard they did a few years ago when he won the MVP. So I don't think he wants to put himself in a position where he goes out there and doesn't play well. But bottom line is this, Rob, in my view, if this is his plan, if he and his camp are saying, you know what, if they franchise me, I'll sign it a week before. And we don't know that that's his plan. One thing is good, his camp isn't talking because his camp is his mom and maybe the Players Association. But they're not. You don't see all these leaks you usually see from the agents.
Yeah, but Andrew Brandt said that he heard from his camp. There's a camp there. There's somebody.
Well, but there ain't been a lot of leaking, Rob.
No. But I'm saying, but obviously they've made contact with a guy like Andrew Brandt as a consultant
what
or somebody.
leaks are there out there?
No, I didn't say leaks.
That's
but
all I'm saying.
Oh, I'm talking about, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't have people who are talking to other people in the league or
well, I'm sure they're working with the Players Association,
yeah,
getting
the Players
advice.
Association,
yeah,
right.
His mother. But I'm saying the leaks. But anyway, my point is this: if this is what he's going to do or wants to do, just ask for a trade now. Ask for a trade now. Like Andrew Brandt said, they've been talking about this for 3 years. We've been negotiating for 3 years, and we are still $100 million plus apart. I want to be traded to somebody that values me. You guys are, if the reports are true, Rob, they're offering $133 million guaranteed. You aren't even giving me Kyler Murray money. You aren't even giving me Russell Wilson money, and we saw how bad he looked this year. You aren't even giving me Aaron Rodgers money, and he's 38 years old. So just go ahead and trade me, and let's move on. I think he never can get total control of this situation because they have the franchise tag. His only figment of control is he could hold, not sign it up until the start of the season. But to me, this gives him this takes back a little leverage for him because then I feel like the Ravens would either up their offer significantly or start moving to trade. And so that's what I think he should do, if indeed this is his plan.
Or maybe his plan is he really wants to stay with the Ravens and he's going to force them to give him what he wants. And what he wants is to stay in Baltimore, and he wants them to pay him. And he's going to flip the
How's he going to force that?
Well, I mean, because at some point they're going to have to make a decision. And I think at that point, either they force him to sign a deal or they make a trade or they, you know what I mean? If he does come back, I just think, I'm not so sure he just wants to leave. You talk about it all the time where
I'm guessing he doesn't want to leave.
Yeah. I mean, those are the actions.
They're not going to pay him.
Right. That's the way it seems, or at least, and he doesn't say much. So you don't know from the horse's mouth. But I don't get that feel because you can make it known that, dude, I'm done here. Okay, clean out. I'm done. Like, just get rid of me, move on, send me somewhere or whatever, and that could be the end of the conversation. But it doesn't feel like that.
Yeah, I mean, again, I do think he wants to stay in Baltimore, but he also wants to get paid, clearly. And so if they're not going to pay him, he's got no choice really but to move on. I don't know how he can force their hand. If he were to not sign the franchise tag at all, then he starts losing money. Like Brand said, he's losing $2 million, a week? If he's, doesn't sign it. So I know he wants his money.